Rack and roll. Shadows of Centris. Amati, you need to provide either cover or a distraction so the civilians can get to safety. These crazies are after us. We need to deal with it. One of the passengers says, and all three men slowly turn their heads to face her. The Anglo woman is suddenly very, very shy. Her headlamp is actually glowing bright red to show how much fear she's holding back. Is there something you would like to tell us? They might be after me? She asks. Control, this is bait. We've cross-pollinated some kind of political attack and have a VIP here. Koa says immediately into his incorporated headset, and there's a sound suspiciously like someone slamming either their head or fist into a desk in frustration. He mentally decides it's the head for the sake of an extra chuckle. Protect all civilians and lock down the area to the best of your ability. Also, if you could get our new friend talking without distracting from combat duties, then do so. Control tells them. Confirmed, Koa says. Everyone get that? He gets confirmation from Reggie and Amati, and his communicator goes off with a text, a thumbs-up emoji with a sender whose ID is redacted. Silent is up to date too. All right, lady, the more you talk, the more we can help. So talk, Amati says as he starts fiddling with Axiom and the wall roof of the tipped-over bus goes transparent. There are at least 2 figures in power armor. Fuck. He points to the wall floor of the bus, and it goes transparent as well. There's a 3rd figure in power armor with a massive laser cannon trained on the vehicle. Shit, I only saw that one. What the hell is so valuable for it to need 3 suits of power armor to get it? Reggie demands as he scans the mechanized armor to try and find a weak point. But beyond the traditional spots of the joints and receptors to cripple or blind it, there doesn't seem to be anything. The virtue of power armor. It keeps you safe. Ma'am, I believe that question was aimed at you? Koa remarks, and the Angla's headlight flutters white. White means rage. Well, Look, I just wanted to study your weird race, all right? I didn't think I'd get some group of crazies after me because of a freaking university paper. Bait, this is Control. We've ID'd the VIP. Her name is Clarita Gurgle. She's reported several death threats aimed at her after her thesis paper in biology went viral, and it justified the evolution of beings not only in null-heavy zones like cruel space, but that sentient life not only can and will, but has already evolved to defend itself from Axiom rather than make use of it, using a species that is a galaxy-wide pariah as example. So a smart girl that people don't want to listen to. Got it, Koa answers. Wait, you are humans? She asks, and Koa sighs. Yes, they're most likely after us, but if they spot you, they'll take a shot. I suppose with all of us on the same bus, it was just too good a target of opportunity. Or they were going after her and we fell into their laps pretty as a picture, Reggie remarks. It could have shaken out any number of ways. We got civilians to protect, and I have an idea, Amati says with a grin. The floor is yours. They're waiting for us to stick our heads out at the moment, but it's only a matter of time before they lose patience and start taking shots into the bus itself. Koa remarks. I'm going to send up a series of illusions to try and get them to shoot each other. It'll only piss them off, but the more I do it, the less they're going to trust their senses. After a short while, we'll be able to just walk out under an illusion because none of them will even look at illusions twice. If their scanners don't clue them off to the fact we left the bus. Reggie gripes. It's not a bad idea, but it's incomplete. You have a better one? Kill their sensors. Give me time to line up some good shots and I'll at least make them duck. We make them as nervous about us as we are about them, and we have this in the bag. But they're already more concerned about us than we are of them, Koa says with a distinct grin in his voice. Still, it's not a bad idea. Amati, fill the area with so much crap that a riot looks calm by comparison. Reggie, take your shots. I'll keep overwatch on the civilians in case things go off. They had only a few more minutes. Thankfully, humans were not only an apex race, but one's already known for boundless energy. There's no way that they would have the patience to try and wait much longer, especially if she unloaded her plasma cannon right into the engines. The entire area is suddenly on fire with black screaming spirits rising up, screeching their unimaginable pain and suffering. She snap fires at one of them by sheer reflex, and the plasma visibly travels through the spirit without interfering with it. Illusions. There's an axiom adept in the bus, possibly one of the humans. That's not good. Still, this one seems specialized in... The suit sensors scream as something crashes into her chest and the armor buckles to pinch painfully around her breasts. Warnings start flashing in the HUD about structural integrity and recommends that she get to a shop after leaving the supposed meteor shower she's in. "The fuck was that?" she demands and opens fire where she thinks the attack came from. "They're using the illusions as cover. Spray it!" One of her compatriots commands, and she nearly curses at herself aloud for not thinking about it. A shift to the weapon setting and a stream of pure fire pours into the area below. Humans may be a tough species, but they're not Canador or Apuk. They are not immune to fire. Her companions start blasting the area with their lasers at random, sweeping the beams in brutal paths that will no doubt leave half-melted and thoroughly charred stone wherever they touch. A good weapon, but a stream of fire has a better spread. Her instincts scream at her a heartbeat before something impacts the side of her cannon. A small object is bounced off her helm and she turns to regard a tiny figure, possibly human, racing away. Right before the object in the air detonates with a bang so loud her ears ring and so much light that her sensors are forced to reset. By the time she can see through the armor again, she has just enough time to notice a strange device plastered to her cannon with shining silver tape, which promptly explodes. She's fine, but her cannon has a hole gouged into the side, and she's forced to throw it to the side before pulling out another weapon, which is when she takes another brutal impact right to the chest armor. It dents even further and alarms start going off at the severe structural damage. It advises apologizing to the Apuk war princess and begging for mercy. She actually senses the next one coming. It has a distinct tinge of frustration and bloodlust clinging to it as the attack pierces the front of her armor, fails to pierce the back and ricochets within her coffin. Blood fills her mouth as pain overwhelms her senses. She's dead before she hits the ground. 3 sniper rounds to the same area the size of a fist. Goddamn. Reggie grunts as the woman finally goes down. The other 2 are firing wildly into the pit of hell that Amadi conjured up. Fire to cloak their movements, spirits to distract the eye, and an ungodly wailing to cover up the exact position of his sniping. The man in question was leaning against the bus with his hands held out and swaying like he was trying to keep balance on a ship in a storm. "Is all that really necessary?" Koa asks, after having walked the civilians part way down a nearby alleyway and having them hide in a large doorway. "They're actively trying to mess with things. I need to..." Amadi begins to explain before he suddenly starts and jumps at them. "Down!" The illusion shatters so hard it's like a shockwave went off. All 3 men scramble behind the bus before it's too late and still dodge a laser cannon shot by a hair's breadth. "What happened?" Koa demands. "Something just hit the axiom like a brick." "Null?" Reggie asks. "No, something else. Some kind of disruption effect. It made my illusion shatter itself. If it touches our shields, it could very well break them," Amadi says, sucking in some air between his teeth. He hadn't seen it coming, and whatever it was, it had given him only a heartbeat's warning. "High? Low? Where did it come from?" Reggie asks as he checks his gun and finds nothing wrong, thankfully. "Low. Very low. Maybe this high?" Amadi clarifies, holding his hand about 2.5 feet off the ground to emphasize. There's a scream from the alleyway and all 3 men perk up. "Fuck! Give me cover!" Koa roars at them as he breaks for the alleyway, and Reggie clambers up to see over the bus and takes aim at the power armor-decked women that are tracking Koa. He takes his shot and one of them staggers back as his bullet slams into the side of her torso. Her friend retaliates and Koa drops down, not fast enough to fully avoid the laser. Thankfully, his energy shield picks up the slack and keeps his head on his shoulders, but does not keep his gun in one piece. "Son of a bitch," Reggie remarks as he sees the utterly slagged barrel of the weapon. Then he tucks it away, all business again. "I'll salvage the bits later." There's the sound of a detonation, and Amadi slips back in beside him with a thoughtful look. So apparently they have point defense lasers that shoot down oncoming grenades. Well, shit. At least we gave the big guy his distraction. Think you're up for more Axiom fun? I think so long as whatever that thing was doesn't touch my effect again. Keep it off the ground then? Give us 3 to 4 feet of clearance and that should take care of it, Reggie suggests, and Amadi nods. On it. We're going Waterworld. Dark and stormy night? Koa asks, pulling out and quickly assembling an AK-47. A quick check and he nods. We're distraction for silence now. Hopefully the little guy is ready with some more surprises. Sounds good. Now let's begin this tale of woe and wonder, Amadi says, and there's a deep and loud groaning sound. Then a ship seems to fall down from above, bringing an entire ocean with it. It crashes into the top of the bus, and the water starts pooling out, dark and opaque. All right, time to give them something to think about, Reggie says as he steps out past the fallen bus and takes aim, filling the bullets with Axiom as best he can without making things too obvious. He makes it too obvious as he sees a laser swing his way, and he jolts to the side ahead of a lance of heat, a lance that follows him before being joined by another that tries to cut him off, but he races backwards and they seem to outright meld together. There's a sudden scream and the lasers are ripped away. Silent has jumped onto the back of one of the two armored women and is trying to hack into it both literally and metaphorically. It's a hell of a thing to see someone stab frantically with a sword while trying to code. The one he's on is too distracted to make a good move, and the other is afraid of hitting her friend. He pours in the Axiom and then opens up a burst of flying death into the unoccupied attacker. She reacts and her shield flickers for a few moments before hardening entirely. Shit. Then a massive burst of power erupts from the opposite direction. A powerful laser beam erupts in fluctuating patterns as Silent breaks away and leaves the one he had been attacking at a dead sprint. A dropship swoops over the building, its rotating laser cannons bombarding the two women and shattering their shields. The TU of the Undaunted emblazoned on the side as it brings down a huge amount of firepower on both hostiles. Amadi lets out a cheer as the ship reorients in mid-air and descends. Amadi dropped the illusion of the ocean. Is that backup I see? Koa asks, even as the cannon barrage stops and several more Silent descend on the two power-armored women to unlock their armor and pull them out alive and ready to talk. Koa, what scared the girls? Amadi asks, now that they have some time. We've met the other side of Miss Gurgle's paper, a sentient whom evolved to resist and combat Axiom rather than use it. Side effects include shattering Axiom constructs by accident and scaring the living hell out of anything and everything that uses Axiom as a major bodily component. Koa answers before chuckling. Turns out there was a secondary rescue operation in the wings. Go figure. Can you put our new friend on the comm? Control asks. They've already run, and I've checked all over for hidden tricks. Apparently, being a species that evokes a reaction of terror and revulsion in everyone else makes you skittish. Koa replies. Describe it. 2 feet tall, long, well-groomed fur all over, golden brown in coloration, bipedal, clearly a tree climber of some kind, padded hands and little claws, reminded me of a puppy and a monkey at the same time with big soulful eyes. Personal effects? A belt of gear and bandolier of gadgets. This thing is completely non-human beyond only the vaguest similarities. That is a HFY galactic pariahs, and every note I have has mentions about how dangerous and repulsive it is. It looks like a Lisa Frank drawing. A what? Koa asks, trying not to comment that its name sounds like tree if someone could not stop rolling their R's. Overly cutesy picture for little girls to gush over on their school supplies. I have a younger sister,